Hello, this is Spartan Commander, and this is the 59th Rome Total War Brotherhood game that I've put on to YouTube. The team today consists of Brotherhood member Mystique, who has bought the Rome Julio faction, and Brotherhood member Talos, who has bought the Macedon faction. And we have Brotherhood member Vlad, who has bought the Rome Brutio faction. Vlad is a member who's been in the Brotherhood for years and years, but he hasn't played Rome Total War for a long time. But recently he's made a bit of a comeback onto RTW and still seems to be a pretty good player. And here is myself, Spartan Commander, who has bought a very old Greek cities army here. Very often I'm asked why I'm called Spartan Commander when I very rarely play with Spartans. And the reason for that is when Rome Total War first came out in September 2004, for the first 3 months of the game I only played with the Greek cities faction, hence my name Spartan Commander. But every now and again I like to bring an ancient army out from those years ago and try them on the modern battlefield. I've wiped the dust and the cobwebs off this army, and I've just bought it today just to see how well it would do against modern players in the modern era of Rome Total War. As you can see, it's a very old army, and I think it'll be interesting to see how well it does, as I said, against new good players. If you notice there, I've got cheap archers, not the Cretan archers, but that allows me to put a little bit more upgrade onto my Spartans there. So as I say, it'll be interesting to see how well this army does against modern good players. So that's the Brotherhood team. Looks pretty good, but you wait till you see the other team, just as good. At this stage of the battle, I thought you might like to have a look at Brotherhood member Talos' Macedon army here. As you can see, looking at his formation, you can see that he's got 2 units in open order in front of his main battle line. Those 2 units are purely there to soak up the enemy Roman pillars that are going to be thrown in his direction. So it's always good to have open order units in front of your main battle line. If you look at the length of those pikes that his pikemen are carrying, remember you've got to fight down those pikes to get to the actual infantrymen holding them. So it's a pretty good army Talos has got there. Good cavalry, good archers too. And here is the other team. To start off with, we have Brotherhood member Uther, who has bought the Rome Scipii faction. We have Wolves clansman Galatia, who has bought the Pontus faction. And then we have Iberos Tutmosil, who has bought the Seleucid faction. And then finally we have Kornovi, who has bought the Rome SBQR faction. So there you have that's the other team there. And at this stage of the battle, I thought I'd pause the game just so we can have a look at the Pontus army here. You don't very often see Pontus brought to the 31k battlefield, as I guess a lot of people think that they're quite a weak faction for 31k. But actually, if you keep those pike units tight together, if you look at the length of those pikes, you think that anybody facing those infantrymen, they've got to fight their way all the way down those pikes to be able to kill the infantry on the other end of them. So as long as you keep those pike units tight, that can be a faction to be very wary of. If you notice, they've got their chariots here, and if you look at the spikes, not just on the wheels of the chariots, but they've got spikes on the horses as well. So these chariots can be very devastating if used properly and kill a lot of men. But also they do run amok, and those of you that have seen my other battle videos have seen where chariots run amok and they become a menace to both friend and foe alike. So it'll be interesting to see how they do. And here we have the Pontus chariot archers here. These guys are fast moving and can cause a lot of damage. At this very early stage of the battle, you can see that Pontus horse archers here are on our right flank, firing loads of arrows into our teammate Vlad's infantry units. If you notice there, that one infantry unit's been reduced down to about 62 men already by the Pontus horse archers firing directly into his flank there. So what Vlad's going to do is he's going to try and advance towards the enemy army. What he would like to do is to get into combat as soon as he can. Obviously he doesn't want to stand there getting killed by horse archers, by chariot archers for as long as for that long, really. As you can see, they're moving their archers even closer to his flank now. That because they're so fast moving, if you send your own cavalry off after them, those chariots would just outrun them. So unless you've got archers of your own to actually reply to those chariots, then you're in a bit of a awkward position there. If you notice, Talos is bringing his Macedon army over here. As you can see, a lot of the enemy seem to be converging onto Vlad here. If you notice, I'm moving my Greek cities army forward as well. If you notice on the right flank, you can see that Uther has charged his Scipii cavalry into the right flank of Vlad. As you can see, I'm just moving my army over here into the centre between them. And if you notice, there's heavy scythe chariots are coming into the flank of Vlad as well. So Vlad has not only got enemy Scipii cavalry hitting him, he's got the Pontus scythe chariot units hitting him as well. As you can see, Vlad is charging his cavalry in as well to try and take the pressure off of his infantry, but with that much impact of Scipii cavalry and those chariots, it's amazing how well his infantry is holding. Yes, a few of his units have routed, but I was expecting almost a chain rout there with that impact of cavalry and chariots, so he's done really well to hold there. As you can see, I've moved my Greek cities armies up to the front of our armies there now, and I'm facing Pontus's long pikes. Plus, if you notice on my right, I've got the enemy Scipii Roman infantry there, probably throwing pilers into my infantry from close range. So this is a very early stage of the battle, and yet there's loads going on already. Here you can see a bit of a close-up here of my Spartans advancing onto the long Pontus pikemen. And if you notice out to my right, you can see the enemy Scipii infantry there as well, which are also probably going to start attacking my Spartans. If you notice, Brotherhood member Talos, my teammate there, is moving some Macedon pikemen over to my right flank to give me a bit of cover. To try and support me a little bit on the right flank there, because I think Vlad's army was so badly damaged by that chariot and cavalry hit, he's trying to reorganise with what units he's got left. He's only got a few battle damaged units left there on the right flank, so that's why Talos has sent some reinforcements over there to help. That was a good move by Brotherhood member Talos there. You see my Greek cities are in a really life or death struggle with those Pontus long pikes in front of them at the moment. And if you notice now on our left, can you see that the enemy SPQR infantry have actually got behind and on the flank of Brotherhood member Talos' Macedon army there. So he's not looking very good on the left for us there. His Macedon army is holding well, bearing in mind they haven't got great morale, really well there. If you notice, the Pontus general has just been killed, and if you notice, a lot of the Pontus pikemen now have been routed in front of my Spartans. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to head towards the other enemy pike army, the other Seleucids. I'm going to head for them, and if you notice, there are still some Pontus units left, but I'm going to head for the Seleucid because they're fresh infantry now, and what I'm going to try and do is put my pikes against theirs. Once again, those Seleucid pikemen there have got very long pikes, so my Spartans have got to kind of fight their way down those pikes to get to the infantry the other end there. So and also my infantry's been fighting obviously through the Pontus pikemen, so they're going to be tired, where the Seleucid pikemen are going to be fresh. If you notice, Mystique with the Julii Roman army now have come over in support and is behind the enemy SPQR infantry that is attacking Talos' Macedon army there. If you notice, there are some SPQR cavalry, some of the units have been charged into the front of my fighting Spartans. There's one unit come around the side there, but charging cavalry into the front of Spartans head on is not really a good idea there, and he would have probably lost quite a few cavalry. You notice he's pulling them out now, but charging them head on into Spartans is probably what a lot of you watching this would probably try and avoid. You can see, that was a panoramic view of the battle here, trying to give you a view of what's going on, because there's stuff going on all over this massive battlefield at the moment. Right, I've just paused the game here for us to take stock of actually what's happening. If you notice over to the right, a heck of a lot of Uther's Scipii army is intact and doing really well on the right flank there. And Vlad's army, as you saw, that was hit by the cavalry and chariots at the beginning, there's not a lot of his units left. He's got a few battle damaged units left over there. Meanwhile, over on our far left, you can see that Mystique is there, and she seems to have still quite a big army intact, and is fighting both Seleucid and enemy SBQR infantry there. If you can notice in the centre, my Spartans are still trying to fight the Seleucid units there. So it's all up in the air at the moment to see what's actually going to happen here. As you see at the back there, there's some Scipii cavalry fighting some Brutii cavalry, and there's still some chariots out the back, out the rear as well there. So it's still all going on at the moment. As you can see, there's still some Pontus units left. So at the moment, my Spartans are fighting Pontus and Seleucid, and there's some enemy SBQR infantry attacking my flank there as well. So there's a lot of pressure on those Spartans at the moment, and if you notice, there's some SBQR cavalry out to the rear threatening. If they charge in, that would put even more pressure onto my my Spartans there. As you can see, Mystique's armies move round to kind of the rear of the enemy now.
Our allies have lost their leader. This turn of events may make them lose heart.
And there's still a lot of enemy cavalry roaming the battlefield at the moment, and some chariots too, which is not very good from our team's point of view there. And here you can see a massive Scipii cavalry hit going into a couple of our allies' Julii infantry there, and as you see, routed a unit there of the our teammates' Julii infantry. Here you can see the enemy Scipii infantry units coming over to hit the back of my Spartan units that are fighting the Seleucid units in front of them. So that's a good move by Uther now. He knows the weak spot of any pike unit is the rear, so he's now charging his units in there. As you can see, Vlad has brought one of his battle damaged units over to try and take a bit of pressure off the rear of my Spartans, seeing the danger. You can see the danger there. But as you can see, my Spartans are now sandwiched between Seleucid and enemy Seleucid and enemy Scipii there. Meanwhile, Mystique's army is still pretty well intact over there, and must have really fresh troops ready to put into the battle. As you can see now, she's bringing her fresh Julii infantry over here. You can see there's another Scipii cavalry hit just gone in on Mist infantry, probably hoping to catch Mist's unit as they were moving, because if cavalry hit infantry units as they move, that does cause them to a lot of casualties. But obviously the Scipii infantry came in a bit late there, but has still managed to rout a couple of the Julii infantry. If you can see, the Seleucid tank cavalry cataphracts are going in to attack. See, they're obviously going for Mystique's general there. They were just hoping to smash in there and maybe get a bit of luck and kill her general, which of course then would lower the morale of all her army there. Meanwhile, you can see here that my Spartans at the moment are fighting Scipii infantry as well as SBQR infantry. Here our Mist just sent an infantry unit over to help me there. There's not a lot, if you notice, there's not a lot of my Greek cities units left. In fact, I can just see, is it 2 Greek city units left in the battle? So there's not a lot of my old army left there. As you can see, there's still quite a bit of enemy SBQR of the army left there. They've got units and cavalry left, infantry units and cavalry left there. And there's still some chariots out there as well, and there's still the cataphract tank cavalry, enemy cataphract tank cavalry still out there as well. Now, if you notice, Mystique's put a lot of units into attacking the Scipii units, so she's got her back to those cataphract cavalry and those chariots. Now, if you notice, the enemy spotted that and are charging their cataphract Seleucid cavalry straight into the back of Mystique's infantry, and the chariots. The enemy chariots have hit as well. Plus, if you notice, there's another Scipii infantry unit hit as well there. So Mystique's army is holding really well. To have that impact on her army from the rear and not to rout was really good. And if you notice now, the Seleucid tank cavalry are starting to rout themselves now. And I think Mystique's troops there, I think a lot of them were quite fresh there. I think that made a big difference to be able to hold. If they were exhausted, they would probably have routed when that hit went into the back of them there. So that was it was a good job that they were quite fresh troops there. As you can see, the battle, there's a few SBQR enemy SBQR units left, but it looks like the battle's probably coming to an end now. I would think there's not a lot of enemy troops left. If you notice, my general unit's got 5 men left in it, and the other Spartan unit's got 6. So I've actually got 11 infantry left. I've still got some archers left, but that's all I've got left is 11 infantry at the end of that battle. Just going to pause the battle there to have a look at the actual amount of dead on the battlefield. Can you see the piles of actual dead troops? I mean, it's absolutely mega battle. There was things going on all over this battlefield, like mini battles within a battle here, and it was great to see the skill and tactics used by everybody that was involved. It was really good battle. The first thing I'd like to say is really well played to everybody in the game. I thought that old Spartan army I bought out there from all those years ago, it's probably about a 9-year-old army there, did well in the modern era against modern players, and I was very pleased to see how well it did. I'd like to say really well played to the other team. I saw lots of great moves, great tactics, and some really heavy cavalry hits going in there, as well as chariot hits, and great use of chariot archers at the beginning of the game too, and during the game as well actually, so really well done. I'd like to say really well done to Wolves Galatia for bringing the Pontus faction. As I said, you don't see the Pontus faction very often in the 31k game, and it was good to see how well it was being fought. And really well played to the Brotherhood team that I was in as well. I thought they all played really well, some great support moves. If you've liked watching this battle and you like watching the other Brotherhood battles we've put on, I was going to say if you'd like to subscribe to the channel, and then when I put games on a Friday or a Monday or a Saturday, you will automatically be informed of when the games are actually on the channel. So if you like watching the games, if you don't want to miss any of them, if you subscribe, then you'll be informed automatically that the games are ready to watch. So I thought it was a really great game. Once again, really well played everybody, and I hope you enjoyed watching it, those people at home. And so Spartan Commander saying bye bye for now.